Life doesn't come with a manual, but if it did, it would be written in the lessons we learn along the way. The problem? Most people spend their lives repeating the same mistakes, wondering why nothing ever changes. But today, right now, you're about to hear the truths that will shift everything. 70 lessons, one message. When you master these, your life will never be the same again. First, understand this. Your mind is either your greatest asset or your worst enemy. If you don't control it, the world will. How you think determines how you live. Winners don't wait for motivation, they create it. They wake up with a mission, they move with certainty, and they refuse to let fear dictate their destiny. Stop letting negative self-talk define your limits. Reprogram your mind to believe in what's possible, and you'll start seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. But belief isn't enough. If you want to change your life, you must take massive, relentless action. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. There isn't one. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't, one took action despite their doubts. Stop overthinking, stop analyzing, start executing. Most people fail, not because they aimed too high and missed, but because they aimed too low and hit. The world belongs to those who dare to take the first step, then another and another, until the impossible becomes inevitable. And let's talk about people. Because life isn't just about what you achieve, but who you become and who you surround yourself with. Your relationships will determine your future. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, who push you to be better, who believe in you even when you don't believe in yourself. The wrong people will drain your energy, steal your dreams, and keep you stuck in a life you were never meant to live. The right ones will elevate you. If you want to change your life, start by changing who you allow into your inner circle. Now listen closely, because this might be the most important lesson of all. Pain is not your enemy. Adversity is not a punishment. It is a test, a lesson, a gift, if you choose to see it that way. The people who grow the most in life are the ones who refuse to let their struggles define them. Every setback, every failure, every rejection, it's all part of your transformation. Life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. And once you understand that, once you embrace the struggle instead of running from it, you become unstoppable. These are just a few of the 70 lessons that, if truly mastered, will alter the course of your life forever. Don't just listen, live them. Because knowing is useless without doing. The real question is, are you ready to stop wishing and start winning? The moment you realize that your mind is the ultimate battleground, everything changes. Everything you see, everything you experience, everything you become, it all starts in your head. Most people never master their mindset, and because of that, they live their lives reacting instead of creating, surviving instead of thriving. But that's not going to be you. Not after today. There was once a man who grew up believing he was destined for failure. Every time he tried something new, a voice inside his head whispered, "You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. Who do you think you are?" That voice dictated his choices. It held him back. It kept him in jobs he hated and relationships that drained him, in a life far below what he was capable of. But one day he met a mentor who told him something that shattered his reality. That voice in your head, it's not yours. It was given to you. And just as it was given, it can be taken away. That moment was the turning point. Because if his thoughts weren't entirely his, that meant he could change them. And when he changed them, his world changed. Most people live in a prison they don't even see. They are chained by fear, doubt, and limiting beliefs. They don't try because they assume they'll fail. They don't speak up because they assume no one will listen. They don't chase their dreams because they assume they aren't worthy of them. But here's the truth. Those assumptions are lies. They were planted in your mind by your past experiences, your environment, the people who told you that you can't. But what if you could? What if you rewired your brain to believe that nothing was out of reach? What if you trained yourself to expect success, not failure? The most successful people in the world don't have superpowers. They weren't born with an advantage you don't have. The only difference? They mastered their mindset before their circumstances changed. They saw themselves as winners before they had proof. They showed up every day, not as they were, but as the person they were becoming. That's the secret. You don't wait for confidence to take action. You take action to build confidence. There's a woman who wanted to be a world-class speaker, but she was terrified of being on stage. Her hands would shake, her voice would crack, and the moment she stepped in front of a crowd, she felt like she was going to collapse. Every fiber of her being told her to quit. But instead of giving in, she asked herself one simple question: what would the best version of me do? The answer was clear. That version of her, the one who had already made it, would walk on stage with power. She would speak with conviction. She wouldn't let fear control her. So she decided that from that moment on, she would act as if she were already that person. And you know what happened? She became that person. Your brain is a muscle. Just like lifting weights builds strength in your body, training your thoughts builds strength in your mind. If you constantly focus on what's wrong, your mind will get better at finding problems. If you focus on possibilities, on growth, on solutions, your mind will get better at creating opportunities. It's a choice, and it's a choice you must make every single day. Think about the last time you faced a setback. Maybe you lost a job. Maybe you tried something new and failed. Maybe someone told you that you weren't good enough, and you believed them. What was your reaction? Did you see it as proof that you weren't meant for more? Or did you see it as a lesson, as fuel, as a challenge to rise higher? The answer to that question determines your future. There was a young entrepreneur who spent years trying to build a business, only to fail over and over again. His friends told him to give up. His family told him to be realistic. But he refused to see failure as the end. Instead, he saw every failure as feedback. Every time something didn't work, he asked, what can I learn? How can I improve? He studied his mistakes, he adjusted, he kept going, and eventually he built a company that changed his life. Not because he was the smartest, not because he was the most talented, but because he had trained his mind to see setbacks as stepping stones. This is the shift that separates the successful from the average. The average person lets life dictate their mindset. The successful person lets their mindset dictate their life. If you can master your thoughts, you can master anything. But here's the thing. This isn't a one-time decision. This is a daily practice. It's waking up every morning and deciding who you're going to be. It's catching yourself in moments of doubt and choosing a different story. It's refusing to entertain thoughts that don't serve you. You've been given the most powerful tool on the planet, your mind. But most people let it run on autopilot, programmed by fear, by society, by past failures. Today that ends. Today you take control, because the moment you do, the moment you realize that you are the author of your own story, nothing will ever be the same again. There's a reason why so many people dream big but achieve so little. It's not because they're not smart enough. It's not because they don't have the right opportunities. It's because they hesitate, they overthink, they wait for the perfect moment that never comes. The ones who rise to the top, the ones who break records, the ones who change their lives and the lives of those around them, those are the people who take massive, relentless, consistent action. There was once a man who had an idea for a business. He was excited. He could see it so clearly in his mind, the success, the freedom, the impact he would make. But instead of acting, he started researching. He spent months watching videos, reading books, analyzing the market. And every day he found a new reason why it wouldn't work. The economy was bad. He didn't have enough experience. Maybe he needed another degree. A year passed, and then 2, and then 5. He never started. Compare that to another man with the same idea. He had the same doubts, the same fears, the same excuses whispering in his ear. But instead of waiting, he took the first step. It was messy. It wasn't perfect, but he learned. And because he acted, he had real-world experience, while the other man had nothing but theories. He adapted, he grew, he failed, he adjusted, and he kept moving forward. And while the first man was still waiting for the right moment, the second man was already living his dream. That is the difference. Action is the great separator. Most people don't fail because they aim too high. and miss. They fail because they aim too low and hit. Or worse, they never aim at all. They tell themselves they'll start on Monday. They'll start when they feel ready. But the truth is, you'll never feel ready. If you wait until all the lights turn green before you leave the house, you'll never get anywhere. Success belongs to those who move before they're prepared, before they have all the answers, before they have permission. There was a woman who wanted to run a marathon, but she had never run a mile in her life. Every time she thought about training, she felt overwhelmed. She didn't know where to start, but instead of getting stuck in her head, she made a decision, just one. She would put on her shoes and run for 5 minutes. That's it. The next day, she did it again, but for 10 minutes. Then 20. And eventually she crossed the finish line of her first marathon, not because she had a perfect plan, not because she was more gifted than anyone else, but because she took action every single day, no matter how small. Consistency is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. Anyone can start. Anyone can go hard for a week, a month, maybe even a year. But the ones who truly succeed are the ones who keep going when the motivation fades, when the excitement wears off, when the results don't come fast enough. That's the test. Look at the greatest athletes, the most successful entrepreneurs, the highest achievers in any field. They didn't get there by doing something once in a while. They got there by showing up every day, whether they felt like it or not. They trained when no one was watching. They worked when no one believed in them. They stayed focused when it would have been easier to quit. There was a musician who had a dream of making it big. He played at small venues for years, barely making enough to survive. He sent his music to record labels and they all rejected him. Most people would have quit, but he kept playing, he kept writing, he kept showing up. And then, after years of being ignored, one song went viral. Overnight, it was the result of 1,000 nights when no one was listening, 1,000 performances where the crowd didn't care, 1,000 moments where he could have walked away but didn't. Massive action means doing what others won't. It means pushing past the discomfort, stepping outside your comfort zone, and refusing to be stopped by temporary setbacks. It means committing before you're ready, showing up when no one else does, and trusting that every small step is building something bigger. And here's the truth. Action creates clarity. You don't need to know every step before you start. You just need to take the first one. The path will reveal itself as you move. Waiting for the perfect moment is an illusion. The only thing that matters is momentum, because once you start moving, things start happening. The people who win in life aren't the ones who have it all figured out. They're the ones who decide, commit, and act. And they don't stop. They keep learning. They keep adjusting. They keep going no matter what. Because when you take massive, consistent action, success is no longer a matter of if. It's only a matter of when. There will come a moment in your life when you realize that no amount of money, success, or material achievements can replace the power of deep, meaningful relationship. People spend their whole lives chasing external rewards, thinking that the next promotion, the next paycheck, the next big win will finally bring them happiness. But in the end, the most fulfilled, the most joyful, the most truly successful people are the ones who invested in the relationships that mattered. There was a man who worked tirelessly to build his empire. He sacrificed everything, late nights, missed birthdays, broken promises to the people he loved, all in pursuit of something bigger. And he got it. He made more money than he ever dreamed of. He had the status, the accolades, the lifestyle most people only fantasize about. But when he reached the top, he looked around and realized he was alone. The people who once cared about him had moved on. He had built an empire, but lost the very thing that makes life worth living: connection. Compare that to another man who also worked hard, also built success, but never lost sight of what mattered. He celebrated the wins with the people he loved. He made time for his family, for his friendships, for the moments that don't come with a paycheck but are priceless. And when he reached his version of success, he had people to share it with. He had a tribe, a support system, people who truly cared, not for what he had, but for who he was. That is the difference. Life is not meant to be lived alone. The quality of your relationships will determine the quality of your life. Who you surround yourself with, how you treat the people in your life, and the depth of your connections will shape your happiness more than any achievement ever will. Think about the moments that truly made you feel alive. Was it when you bought something expensive, or was it when you laughed until you cried with someone who gets you? Was it when you hit a new milestone in your career? Or was it when you shared a meal, a story, a moment with someone who truly mattered? It is not success that brings meaningful relationships. It is meaningful relationships that bring real success. Success in life, not just in business. Because no one makes it alone. No one becomes great without mentors, without a team, without people who challenge, support, and uplift them. There's an athlete who had all the talent in the world. He had raw skill, unmatched ability, but he never built strong relationships. He thought he could do it alone, but when times got tough, when he hit setbacks, when he needed someone in his corner, no one was there. He lost his motivation, he lost his way, and eventually he lost everything he had worked for. Because talent alone is never enough. You need people, you need connection. And there was another athlete, one with just as much potential, but he built relationships. He respected his coaches. He learned from his mentors. He surrounded himself with teammates who pushed him to be better. And when challenges came, when doubt crept in, he had people to lift him up. He had a support system that kept him going when he couldn't find the strength on his own. And that's why he succeeded, not just because of his skill, but because of the relationships that fueled his growth. Relationships aren't just about personal fulfillment. They are the key to professional success, to emotional resilience, to a life that feels truly rich. The people you surround yourself with will either pull you up or drag you down. They will either inspire you or drain you. That's why you must be intentional. You must seek out people who elevate you, who challenge you, who push you to be more. And you must do the same for them. There was a young entrepreneur who was struggling to get his business off the ground. He tried everything. New strategies, different approaches, but nothing was working. He was on the verge of giving up when a mentor stepped in. This mentor didn't just give advice, he gave belief. He saw potential in the young entrepreneur that he couldn't see in himself. And because of that relationship, because of that belief, the young entrepreneur kept going. And eventually he built something extraordinary. But it never would have happened without that connection. This is why relationships are everything. The right ones will give you strength when you have none. They will show you possibilities you never imagined. They will remind you who you are when you forget. And that's why they must be nurtured, prioritized, and protected. But relationships aren't just about what you get. They are about what you give. You can't just expect people to be there for you if you're never there for them. You must show up. You must invest in people with your time, your energy, your presence. Be the kind of friend, partner, leader, mentor that you wish you had, because when you give value to others, when you pour into people, when you make the effort to truly connect, you don't just build strong relationships, you build a powerful, unshakable life. Everything you do will be impacted by the people you choose to walk this journey with. Your success, your happiness, your ability to overcome challenges, it all comes back to who is standing beside you. The people you pour into, the people who pour into you, they are the foundation of a life well lived. Because at the end of the day, it's not the trophies, the money, the titles that will matter. It's the moments, the memories, the people who made the journey worth it. There is one thing in life that no one can escape: adversity. It comes for everyone. It doesn't care how talented you are, how smart you are, how much potential you have. It doesn't care where you come from or what you've achieved, but the difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck is simple: how they respond to adversity. Most people see struggle as a curse. The ones who rise see it as their greatest teacher. There was once a man who had every reason to quit. Life kept knocking him down. He lost his job, his savings, his confidence. Every time he tried to get back up, something else went wrong. He started to believe that maybe he just wasn't meant for success. Maybe life was against him. But then he had a realization. His failures weren't there to stop him. They were there to teach him, to strengthen him, to prepare him. The lessons weren't in the easy days. The growth wasn't in the comfortable moments. It was in the pain, the struggle, the days that tested him to his core. And from that moment forward, everything changed. Adversity is the greatest training ground for success because every setback, every failure, every challenge carries with it an opportunity to grow, to learn, to build the resilience that will take you to the next level. But most people don't see it that way. Most people let adversity break them instead of shape them. They let it define them instead of refine them. There was a young woman who dreamed of becoming a world-class athlete. She trained harder than anyone else, sacrificed more than anyone else. But then, just before the biggest competition of her life, she suffered an injury that shattered everything. She could have given up. She could have taken it as a sign that it wasn't meant to be. But instead, she made a decision. If she couldn't train physically, she would train mentally. While her body healed, she studied the game. She strengthened her mind. She visualized every move, every victory, every moment of her comeback. And when she finally returned, she wasn't just the same athlete. She was better, stronger, sharper. And she didn't just compete, she dominated. Not in spite of her adversity, but because of it. Life is not about avoiding challenges. It's about learning to thrive in the middle of them. Because here's the truth. You don't grow when things are easy. You don't develop character, discipline, or mental toughness when everything goes your way. Those qualities are forged in the fire. They are built when you have every reason to quit, but keep going anyway. Think about the most successful people in the world, the leaders, the game changers, the innovators. Do you think they got there without adversity? Do you think they had a smooth, easy ride to the top? No. Every single one of them faced challenges that could have ended their journey. But instead of backing down, they used those challenges as fuel. There was a businessman who failed over and over again. His first company went bankrupt. His second venture collapsed. His third attempt barely made it off the ground before falling apart. But he refused to let failure define him. Every mistake taught him something. Every setback made him sharper, more resourceful, more determined. And when his fourth company finally took off, he realized something. If he had succeeded on his first try, he never would have developed the skills, the wisdom, the grit that made him truly great. The adversity was not an obstacle. It was the training ground. Most people spend their lives running from difficulty. They avoid failure like it's something to be ashamed of. But failure is not the enemy. Quitting is, staying the same is, refusing to learn from your struggles is. Because the truth is, every great success story is built on a foundation of failures, of struggles, of setbacks that forced them to grow into the person they needed to become. Adversity is the ultimate test. It reveals who you really are. When things don't go your way, do you crumble or do you rise? Do you let failure make you bitter or do you let it make you better? That choice is yours and it will determine your future. There was a musician who was rejected by every record label he sent his music to. He played in empty bars, poured his soul into songs no one seemed to care about. Any rational person would have walked away. But he didn't. He kept playing. He kept writing. He kept showing up. And one day, when the world was finally ready to hear him, he was unstoppable. He wasn't just talented, he was unbreakable. That's the power of adversity. It forces you to make a choice. Give up or grow. Stay stuck or step up. And when you choose to lean into the struggle, when you choose to learn from the pain instead of running from it, that's when you become unstoppable. Because the ones who can face adversity head on, who can take the punches, who can rise from every failure stronger than before, those are the ones who win. Not just in business, not just in sports, but in life. Let me tell you something. You were not put on this earth to live in fear of failure. You were not born to shrink in the face of adversity. You were built for more. You were designed to rise, to fight, to overcome, to conquer. And every challenge, every setback, every obstacle standing in your way is not there to break you, it's there to make you. History remembers the warriors, the relentless, the unshakable, the ones who stared failure in the face and said, "Is that all you've got?" The ones who refused to bow down to circumstance, the ones who turned their pain into power, their scars into wisdom, and their struggles into fuel. Because when life knocks you down, you have two choices. Stay down and make excuses, or get up and make history. You want success, then earn it. You want greatness? Then fight for it. You want to be unstoppable? Then stop waiting for things to get easier and start getting stronger. Because the truth is, life will never hand you what you want. It will test you first. It will ask you, how bad do you really want it? And if your answer isn't strong enough, you will break. But if your answer is, I will not stop, I will not quit, I will not let anything or anyone stand in my way, then you, my friends, will become unstoppable. Adversity is the forge where champions are made. It is the fire that separates the weak from the strong. It is the battlefield where legends are born. And if you're facing adversity right now, if you feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, if you are standing at the edge of giving up, remember this. Your greatest breakthrough is always on the other side of your greatest struggle. Your pain today is the foundation of your strength tomorrow. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first job because they said she wasn't fit for television. What if they had given up? What if they had believed the world when it told them they weren't good enough? But they didn't. They took the hits. They faced the rejection. They embraced the struggle, and because of that, they became legends. You have that same fire inside of you. You have that same potential, that same resilience, that same ability to turn your pain into greatness. But it starts with a decision to refuse to let adversity define you, a decision to stand up every time life tries to knock you down, a decision to push forward even when everything in you wants to quit. Rocky Balboa said, "It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward." That is the difference between those who make it and those who don't. Life is going to hit you. It's going to knock the wind out of you. It's going to make you question yourself. But the real question is, will you get back up? Will you keep fighting? Will you turn your pain into power? The greats were not born great. They were forged in the fires of adversity. They were shaped by the struggles they refused to let defeat them. And you, right now, have a choice. Will you let your challenges break you? Or will you let them build you? Will you let failure stop you, or will you use it as fuel? There is greatness inside of you. There is power in your struggle. And if you refuse to give up, if you refuse to back down, if you stand tall in the face of adversity, then nothing can stop you. Because the only limits in this life are the ones you accept. The only way you fail is if you quit. So get up, keep going, face your adversity head on, because when you come out on the other side, you won't just be stronger, you won't just be wiser, you will be unstoppable.